All right, let's tackle this next question here. And this question, the question sentence where we're going to begin every time, asks, what is the final length of the beam? All right, everybody, so let's go ahead and understand that question sentence first. So what is the final length of the beam? Everybody, because they say the word final and not total or how much is remaining, is it true that this question sentence doesn't tell you exactly what operations we're dealing with? Is it true that this is a little vague here? Because when they say final length, they don't specify whether that's adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, right? We can't assume that the question sentence has all the information. The question sentence is for context. It's basically telling you, hey, this whole story over here, this is the conclusion. We want to know the final length of the beam. Just like that. So now all we're going to do is we're going to read through the information, and all we care about is, again, the beam and anything that happens to it in the beginning and the middle. Because here, we're going to find out at the end. So here, let's go. A construction crew has a steel beam that's this long. Okay, so I'll just write that down. We start off with 15 feet and 8 inches. Sounds good. And then they say that they cut off a section measuring 4 feet, 11 inches. Help me out, everybody. Typically, when you hear that a length or a section of something is going to be cut out, what operation are we thinking? Subtraction. Yeah, if we're just cutting off one section, that's subtraction. If we're cutting off multiple sections of the same size, that's division. But here, this is subtraction. So boom, I'll go ahead and write down that we're subtracting 4 feet, 11 inches. And then lastly, we see that they then weld on, let's highlight that, they weld on an extension piece that is 3 feet, 6 inches. Everyone, simple context clues. When we are welding something on and it becomes an extension of what was there previously, the extension means that we're doing what? Adding. Absolutely. So notice this. Before we even get to the actual calculation, notice how the emphasis that I've been making has been around the key words. Hey, what does cutting off mean? Subtracting. Welding on an extension, that's addition. Once you plan your route from what you have to what you're looking for, which is right here, that's when we want to perform the calculations. That's when we're ready to do the math. So let's go ahead and get after it here. We have 15 feet 8 inches minus 4 feet 11 inches plus 3 feet 6 inches. If you want to take a lot less time doing this problem, here's what you shouldn't do. What you shouldn't do is do the subtraction first. That's what you shouldn't do. What you should do is do the addition first. Here's what I mean, everybody. This is a very straightforward rule. If I have something like this, 3 minus 1 plus 2, this is the same as 3 plus 2 minus 1. It's the same thing. Help me out, everybody. 3 minus 2, that's 2. And then plus 2 gives us what? 4. Great. Same thing over here. 3 plus 2 is 5. 5 minus 1, that'll give us 4. It's the same thing. So I can use this little idea over here. Let me make that smaller, throw it away. I can use that little idea to grab the 3 feet 6 inches, and I can just add it first. Watch what happens. I add this up, and I end up getting 18 feet and 14 inches. Do I want to convert the 14 inches to another foot right now? No, I don't. I don't want to convert it yet because I can subtract first and then see if I have to convert. Look at that. Watch this. I'll go ahead and copy this over. Just duplicate it down here. I'll move you over here to make it a little more lined up. And watch this. Everyone, 14 inches minus 11 inches leaves me where? Yeah, that'll leave me 3 inches. 14 inches minus 11, that's 3. And then 18 feet minus 4 feet, what does that give us? That ends up giving us 14 feet. Nice and easy. Boom. So if you want to stop right here and ask me, hey coach, why did I choose to add first and then subtract? Simple reason. Simple reason. Everyone, is it easy to subtract 11 inches from 8 inches? Would that have been easy? Would we have had the... No, it wouldn't have been easy. We would have had to convert, or we would have had to borrow a 1. Didn't have to do all that. So you could have done either way first. If you wanted to subtract, guess what? 8 inches minus 11 inches would have forced you to do more work. I noticed that if I added first, right over here with the 3 feet 6 inches, boom, I have 14 inches. And now I don't have to borrow. I don't have to do any of that. I can do 14 minus 11, gives me 3. No other work needed, and I am good. The correct answer for this problem here is answer choice B, 14 feet and 3 inches. All right, next question up. We're going to start off with that question sentence as always, no matter what time of day it is. So we're looking here and it says, how far is the kayaker from the starting point? Okay, so I want to know how far this kayaker is, but there's a relative point here, and it's the point at which we start. So when we read what's going on, it says that this kayaker paddles downstream at this rate and for this time, and then turns around and paddles upstream at this rate and that time. So before I even get into the numbers, before I start calculating, I clearly understood that if this is my starting point, I clearly understood that for a portion, we go downstream at a rate of 11 miles per hour for 6 hours. And I know my distance, rate, and time. I know that I am going to go ahead and multiply my rate and time together to get that distance. And so everyone, what is 11 multiplied by 6? What's that going to give us? Yeah, simply put, 11 times 6, that gives us 66. So that is 66 miles specifically downstream. Now, I'm going to cover that in blue, so let's just go ahead and highlight that nice and easy. And then in purple over here, turns around and paddles upstream at 7 miles per hour for 4 hours. All right, perfect. So when we go back upstream, I'm just going to say like, hey, this is where we end up at. And now we'll go upstream, and that's going to be a rate of 7 miles per hour for 4 hours. Help me out again, everybody. What is 7 multiplied by 4? Toughest question of the day. That's going to be 28 miles. Sounds good. So as long as we understood that if we're trying to see how far we are from the starting point, and we went downstream and then upstream, if you understood that part of the story, you might also understand that taking the 66 miles that we went downstream and subtracting or cutting out the distance that we came back upstream for, that will give us how far we are from the starting point, from here to here. That's what we're trying to find. From where we start to where we end, that's the distance we're trying to find. And that's going to be found by doing 66 minus 28. We'll have to do a little bit of borrowing, and that's okay. So 16 minus 8 is 8. 5 minus 2 is 3. But nonetheless, the final resting point after we come back upstream for the 4 hours is going to be 38 miles. And there we are. Boom. All good. It's again about understanding downstream versus upstream, where we count the relative distance.